Welcome back everyone. Today's video is going to be a comparison of the two hire vans that I've taken out so far. I've had requests of various items like the water park that I stayed at and just a comparison of the two vans. So the first one, as you saw, was the Motorhome, which was a 1998, I think it was a Peugeot, based on a Peugeot Boxer van. The price of booking for that, excuse me for looking down, but I've got my notes in front of me. So the price for that one, for the 4 days, they classed that as 4 days, although I picked it up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and got it back at 12 o'clock, so it wasn't really 4 days, but hey, never mind. So the price of that one was $478 for the 4 days. I then paid, it did have insurance included in it, which a lot of them do, but I then paid an additional insurance to reduce the excess down from £2,000 to £500, which I thought was worth it if I had a bang or a crash or whatever I had. So that was the cost of that one. And then the Sprinter van was $326 for 3 days, and I paid the excess again. So that insurance reduced both the excess and the security deposit that I had to pay. So I only had to pay £150 security deposit, and I can't remember what the excess came down to. I think it was £500 again. So the motorhome I booked through a site called Campervans, .co.uk, and then the gorgeous Sprinter van I booked it through GoBoony, GoBoony. Both of those sites, people that have their own vans, motorhomes, etc., caravans, can register with them and they can hire out their van to the public. So I'm considering doing that if I do actually go ahead and buy my own. So I think that's another good little source of income, and it keeps the van being used. Yes, you do have the possibility of damage and not being clean when it comes back, but then again I guess that's what your security deposit's for. But I do think that would be a good option, and I will make sure that I book out plenty of time for my own holidays away. So that's what I'm contemplating doing with a van that I get. So the length of them, now the length of the vans has kind of like caused me a bit of consternation, I guess. The first one was, the motorhome was 6 meters long and it was wider than the Sprinter van, and it did feel quite bulky because it was the first time I'd driven one. Soon got used to it though. When we went out on the second day to Sherwood Forest, I jumped in it and just took off, and it was quite comfortable. I felt quite comfortable driving it, apart from the gearbox, which I come to next. The Sprinter van was 7 meters long, so it was another meter longer than the motorhome, but it didn't feel it, and I was quite surprised by that. It felt much easier to drive. So I'm contemplating next time, contemplating hiring a 7 meter motorhome so that I've got the space inside, and then see how I got on with that. And then that's going to be an option as to what I buy in the end. So fingers crossed on that. So the gearbox on the first one, on the motorhome, 1998 vehicle, and when Deb and I picked it up, the guy said the gearbox is quirky, and I thought, oh Lord, what am I in for with that one? So that was really hard to change gear. Going from first into second was a nightmare. So I'd be kind of like pulling out on a road and yanking it down. I think in the first video, I did mention there that when I got back, this muscle here was, yeah, sore. Anyway, that one was tricky. So I would prefer a good gearbox in the van that I eventually get. The Sprinter van, the gearbox was like driving a car. It was just slightly heavier, but so much better than the motorhome. Next one, ease of driving. So the big van, no, not the big van, the Boxer van, obviously it felt a bit clunky when I first got into it because first time I'd driven a vehicle like that. And it did feel very wide, and I really overcompensated when I was pulling out, pull right out and then right back in again. I left loads of space, and I drove right on the to the outside of the lane that I was in, but hey, I just did it. And I drove slower as well, so if anybody was behind me, sorry about that. The Sprinter van, yeah, really quickly got used to driving that, and apart from having to make sure that you gave it plenty of space in and out as you would with a large van, I was really comfortable driving that. When I got on the motorway, it was just lovely, and I do actually love being up high in a van rather than low down in my little Ford KA. And then when I get back to my car, it's like driving a little roller skate compared to the vans, but you soon adapt back again, don't you? Right, space inside the van. Obviously a motorhome has got a lot more space than the Sprinter van, and I really liked the space, and I really liked the layout of the motorhome with the U-shaped lounge at the back. The Sprinter van, I went for one that had got an L-shaped lounge behind the bulkhead, and I really liked that as well, because it's nice just to chill out, isn't it, rather than just having one bench. It's really nice to chill out on a lounge, and then when you pulled the bed out on that one, you could totally chill out. There was no TV in either of them. There was a TV in the motorhome that I hired, but I couldn't get reception on it, and anyway, I wasn't bothered. I hadn't gone away for a weekend to watch TV all weekend, so it didn't bother me. When I do get my own van, I will make sure that I can get good reception, because if I'm going off for weeks on end or whatever, maybe, then I will want to watch some TV. So that's what I've decided I'm going to do there. The quality of the fittings. Now, although the motorhome was built in 1998, inside it was really well preserved, and yeah, the seating was all really neat and tidy, clean. The toilet area, there was just a slight bit of staining on the sink, but considering its age, I suppose that was, yeah, not bad. The kitchen area, so the hob and the oven and the sink, they were all lovely. So the inside of that van, you could not complain about at all. It was really nice. They could have just put a few more items inside it to include, and I looked at some of the cups that they'd got, and they were mucky inside, so I was glad that I'd taken my own stuff. So I do take my own stuff anyway. The Campervan had loads of equipment in it. It was fully stocked. It had a microwave. It had a little electric heater that I used at night time, a really little tiny one. I'm going to get one of those. It had loads of equipment in it. It didn't have a TV. It didn't have a shower, but I wasn't bothered about that. There was a shower unit on the site, Hatfield Water Park, which was really clean and nice. So I wasn't that bothered that I didn't have a shower in that one. I didn't use the shower in the motorhome. And again, in one that I get, I will make sure that there is a good shower area in it, because if I'm going to want to go off-grid, if I dare do that, but if I want to go off-grid, then I will want a shower. And I have seen some that have got outdoor showers as well, so you just pull them out the side of the van and use that. So I could use that for Benj if he gets mucky. So again, that's going to be on my list of wants for my own van. Right, next down, bed setup. So the motorhome had a huge bed that came out of the lounge, so that was just an enormous one, and that was quite easy to set up. You just pulled out the slats and changed all of the cushions around, and then of course it had the huge double bed up in the above the cabin. I didn't use that because getting down it was quite awkward. You used the steps to get down it, and when Sophie stayed over with me, we just both stayed on that enormous bed made out of the lounge settee, so that was quite comfortable. Making up the bed in the camper van, the slats came out from the side of the sofa that was backed onto the bulkhead. So you pulled that out, and then you moved you slotted it in, and then you moved the cushions around accordingly. But that was quite awkward, and it took lots of the space up, and then it was awkward to get out of to go to the kitchen or to go to the loo when I needed to. And the bunk on that one was quite high up. Again, Sophia could have used that when she stayed, but I wanted her on the double next to me, so that she wasn't kind of like at the back of the van. For the first time, I didn't feel okay her going up there. So if I was to have a van with that configuration, what I would do is get somebody to lower the bunk so that the garage, the storage area on a caravan or a motorhome, etc., if you didn't know, is called the garage area. And the garage area on the Sprinter van was huge. It was brilliant. I could get everything in there. And if I was to get one with that configuration, which is quite a nice configuration actually, with the bathroom at the back taking up half of the back, and then the garage and the bunk above it taking up the other half of the back. I quite liked that configuration, but I would get somebody to change that bunk so that it was lower, and also that it tilted back to the side of the van so that you could get a bike in there. I want to get a bike to take on my travels with me. And I'm planning on getting an electric bike with a basket on the front, so I can pop Benji in it, and then we can toddle off on our 30-mile round trip. I think you can get up to 30, 40, 50 miles on one charge on those electric bikes, which seems like a real good option to me. So yeah, that's the bed setup. The bathroom, the older van did have the shower included, but it was in you would have taken the shower in the standing space from getting up from the loo or standing in front of the wash basin, so that wasn't ideal. And I've seen some amazing vans. We went to the motorhome show in Harrogate last weekend, and oh my God, if you could afford one of those vans, even lots of them actually were used ones, but if you could afford one of those, I saw a gorgeous camper van, which I'll tell you about in a moment. So the bathroom on the motorhome was okay. It was quite basic. The bathroom on the camper van was really lovely. They'd put some cupboards at the top. It was quite roomy. A nice Thetford toilet where you just pressed a button and it flushed. And then it had a nice little sink. It was a plastic sink, but it looked like a tiny Belfast sink. It was really nice. And that one didn't have a shower, so if that had a shower in it, that would have been perfect. But yeah, that was the bathrooms. And so the overall impressions, the older motorhome was okay, but if I was to buy one of my own, I would prefer to buy a newer model. And the campervan, the Sprinter campervan, I loved it, absolutely loved it. Loved everything about it. I loved the awning that came out. I loved the look of it. I loved the way it drove. So giving them scores, I would give the older motorhome a 7 out of 10, and I would give the Sprinter campervan a 9 out of 10. Just so there's a couple of things that needed to change, the way that the beds are set up, and having a shower in the toilet. Yeah, but I loved that van. It was really nice, as you have gathered. So the motorhome, I saw two that I really loved. One of them was an auto sleeper van, which and it was a brand new one. And when you go into it, you go in the back, right at the back, and as you go up the steps, the kitchen's on just to the right at the back of the van, and the bathroom is in front of you, and then it has two long benches that make up into the double bed. And when you went into the bathroom of that one, you opened it up, so there was a toilet, then there was the little sink area. But then if you grabbed hold of the corner of the sink and pulled it out, it opened up and there was a shower room behind it. It was absolutely amazing. I can't remember how much that one was. Probably, I think that one might have been about £50,000, brand new. So yeah, out of my budget obviously, but something to dream about. And then the other one that I really loved was a camper van. And that one had the configuration at the back that I like a U-shaped lounge, obviously smaller at the front. So you go in the side door, and then there was a bench in front of you, and then there was a tall fridge freezer. Then there was the bathroom unit, and then over this side, as you went through the door, there was a kitchen area, and then at the end of the van there was a U-shaped lounge. So we went round the back of the van and looked up, and then up above it was the double bed. That was an electric double bed. So you pressed a button and the double bed came down and went over the unit. So that was just perfect. I loved that one. And then I went round the front and looked at the price of that one, £72,000. But that's something to dream about. Anyway, I hope, oh no, sorry, I was going to give you more details on Hatfield Water Park. So I stayed there for 2 nights. You saw from the previous video how green it was, and they've made it really secluded in the areas that you go into. It's in like little secluded areas, trees grown up around it, and then they mow it all, and you have maybe 3 or 4 pictures in each area, and then they had a lovely shower block, which was really clean, had all of the hand sanitizers. It was cleaned really regularly, even though on the second day that I was there was only me and the tent there, and we each had our own bathroom. The guy came around, the manager came around and said, because there's only you two on the site, you can have that one and they can have that one, and it was just perfect. At the cost of that one, I had an electric an electric hookup, and the cost of that one was £54 for the 2 nights, so it was quite expensive, I thought. I have now joined the camping and caravanning club, so I'm going to look at pictures in the future, and I'll get a discount on them, obviously, with being a member of that club, so that was really worth doing. I did that when we went to the Motorhome show, so I'm pleased that I've joined that now. The water park wasn't open when I was there. They were opening it for the weekend, this week that's just gone, so half term. And yeah, the activities on there were really nice. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend that as a place to go to. And then you can take a walk into Hatfield. There's a couple of pubs, 1 pub now I think, one of them's just unfortunately closed down. Plenty of shops and stuff, and very, very easy access to the M18 and the motorway system, so definitely recommend that one. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and I will do another one when I have done another hire.